welcome to the second segment of Preparing for the Tax Preparer. Okay, in the first spiral notebook, I have sort of an itemized list that I used my receipts to make. And some things you'll have receipts for and some things you won't. Some things will just be deductions from your check stub or whatever. This would be an example. Insurance other than health. Okay, you're going to have OAI, which is Occupational Accidental Insurance, $30 a week times 5 weeks. This is like for the month of January. There's 5 weeks in January. That's $150. And then gap insurance, $5 times 5 weeks, $25, which is $175. Okay, then you're going to have the miscellaneous category like laundry, phone, cleaning supplies. This came to $115. Then you're going to have office expense like books and pens. This came to $10. Then you're going to have things like commissions and fees like ATM fees and faxes. This came to $31.80. Then you're going to have per diem and meals. I keep track of my receipts for actual meals and my actual meal cost. And I have several reasons for doing this, but one of them is I'm on a special diet and I spend a lot of money on food. And I keep track of this in case I beat the per diem. But my expense was $650 for actual, but the per diem ended up being more. So let's say I spent 26 days on the road at $63 per day. That comes to $1,638 times 80%. Comes to $1,310.40. So the per diem was higher than the actual meal cost, so I will use the per diem. Then I will take the information from this notebook and I will put it on this notebook, which is a little bit more concise. And this is just an example that you can use. I put my income for each week in January. Okay, and this is my gross. And then I took the information from this book, like I said, and put it in this book. And insurance other than health, $175, and so on. Miscellaneous, $115, and all that. And so my expenses came to $1,642.20. All right. Then I took my gross and my expenses subtracted from that. And my net was $3543.80. Then I went with the 15% self-employment tax, which is like 15.3%, because not quite in the tax bracket yet to deduct 25%, which is the federal income tax and all that. And I come up with $531.57 tax due. And then my net, I took from here. I put it here, all right, and then my tax due, which was here, I put that here, and then this is my net after tax, okay? And then at the end of the year, I'm going to take all those categories from each month and add them together, such as, well, first I'm going to add all my income together for each month, okay? This is just an example, all right? And my insurance other than health for the whole year, I took that figure from each month and put it here, and so on with the miscellaneous, the office expense, commission and fees, and per diem. And I come up with $21,627.80 in deductions. And I followed this same process. I deducted my expenses from my gross and got my net after expenses. Then I took that figure and put my net, and I times that by 15.3 for the self-employment tax, and this is my tax due. And then I divided that by 12 months to see how much I need to set aside every month. Depending on what your tax bracket is, you may end up paying more tax than the self-employment tax. You may end up paying federal income tax also. Okay, so with that scenario, I would need to put aside about $550 a month to pay taxes. And don't forget about business use of the home. My home is about 1,020 square feet, And so I have about 50 square feet for office space, and I keep track of my electricity, my rent and mortgage, and so on. And I give those figures to my tax preparer, and they come up with the deduction that I would get for business use of home. And so now I will go through the supplies that you'll need. Number one, it's nice to have this. It's a truck driver tax deductions sheet. You can find them on the internet. You can print them off. You can ask your tax preparer for one, but it'll show you things that are deductible. And then this is my envelope for receipts, all right? And then inside this envelope, I put these envelopes. I have one marked miscellaneous, and I'll put all my miscellaneous receipts there. My commissions and fees, such as ATM fees and faxes and things like that. And my meals, because like I said, some people may beat the per diem if they have a special diet, or if they're a diabetic or something like that, and their food is more expensive. And then I have an envelope for pay statements. I print off pay statements every time I come home for home time. And then checking account statements. I print off my checking account statements every single month, because some of the expenses I don't have a receipt for, but I've used my debit card, and I can just go through there and circle those expenses and write them here, and then of course transfer them to here, and so on. And another thing you might want to keep on hand is the receipt book. Sometimes you may have to write a receipt for yourself. Let's say somebody comes by and shines the chrome on your tires or something, and they charge you $20. You'll want to make yourself a receipt for that, because that's tax deductible. All right, another thing you might want to keep on hand is a blank a blank Schedule C. This is a 1040. Oh, okay, here we go. Never mind. A blank Schedule C, so that you can see what is deductible and how that works out. If you're not familiar with Schedule C's, that may help you also. And all you're going to need, other than these few simple supplies, is of course your receipts, which you will place in these envelopes, and then you can take all these envelopes and keep them inside this envelope, okay? And about 10 or 15 minutes a week to work on these things, and an ink pen and a calculator, and that's pretty much it. It takes me about 10 or 15 minutes a week, and I always know exactly what I owe. And about every 3 months I go sit down with a tax preparer, and I hand them one sheet of paper, which is just like this one that's used at the end of the year, and they put my figures into a computer. They don't even charge me for this checkup. I just call them and say, hey, I need a checkup. And they tell me what my tax liability is, and it's good to do this about every 3 months, because if you don't, you could end up having to pay a penalty. So I hope this helps you, and if you have any questions, please email me at straighttrucksmatter@gmail.com. Thank you very much, and have a great day.